Hi there. If you retire in your 50s or early 60s, your first 5 years are not a warm up. They can make retirement feel stable, flexible, and exciting, or stressful, fragile, and full of second guessing. And the data backs this up. Research from the Employee Benefit Research Institute and RAND, a major nonprofit research organization, shows retirement spending and behavior shifts in the early years, and those choices have long-term impact. So in this video, I'm giving you 9 lessons learned from people already living in retirement, plus the 3 biggest mistakes that quietly derail retirees. And stick with me because for every lesson, I'll give you a clear, here's what to do about it, so you can avoid the same trap and take action right away. The first lesson is to treat withdrawals, taxes, and healthcare as one system. This is where a lot of even the smartest retirees get tripped up. They plan spending, taxes, and health insurance separately, but in retirement, they're all tied together. If you pull too much from tax-deferred accounts in one year, taxable income rises. When income rises, 2 things can happen at once. Your tax bill can increase, and if you're under 65 and buying your own ACA coverage, your subsidy can shrink or even disappear altogether. So one withdrawal decision can hit you from both directions. Here's a simple example. We have a couple with the same spending goal but different results. Let's say a couple needs $90K for the year in retirement spending. In version A of this example, they are in convenience mode. They take the full $90K from a traditional 401k because it's the easiest, but the full amount is taxed as ordinary income. For a household of 2, 400% of the 2025 federal poverty level is $84,600, and that's the number used for the 2026 marketplace subsidy calculations because marketplace eligibility uses the prior year's poverty guidelines. So in this example, $90K is above that line. The outcome of their strategy is they are paying higher taxes as they are paying ordinary income tax on that withdrawal. And because they're over the 400% FPL line, they lose premium tax credit eligibility and pay the full unsubsidized health insurance premiums. Now, in version B, for that same couple, they are more strategic about how they are funding their retirement spending. They still pull that same $90K, but they blend the sources they're pulling it from. Perhaps some from their taxable brokerage account where they can select lots to sell that have the least long-term capital gains, some from their traditional 401k up to a target bracket, and some from other lower impact sources if needed. That keeps their modified adjusted gross income or MAGI more controlled, and in this example, aims to keep it under the 400% FPL threshold used for subsidy eligibility. As a result of this strategic approach, this outcome is much better. They preserve premium tax credit eligibility instead of paying full unsubsidized premiums, which protects spendable cash flow and keeps their original $90K spending lifestyle plan intact. And this is the part people underestimate. When you go over the modified adjusted gross income cliff and lose subsidies, premiums can jump so much that the $90K they planned as enough may no longer be enough. In other words, their gross withdrawal might still be $90K, but their net spendable amount can fall sharply once the full unsubsidized premiums show up. And that can force cutbacks or force even larger withdrawals, which can create an even bigger tax and healthcare cost spiral. So don't pick accounts you're drawing from based on convenience. Pick them based on total system impact. Here's what to do about it. Set a target taxable income range for the year. Map which accounts you'll draw from first, second, and third, taking into account MAGI impact and the goal of keeping subsidies intact if you're on ACA health insurance. Run a basic what-if scenario before taking a large extra distribution and make sure you understand the impacts. Lesson 2, Healthspan matters more than people think. It's not just how long you live, it's how long you can do the activities you care most about. Retirees later in life say this all the time. I thought I had more time for the big stuff. That's why the first 5 years of retirement are so important, because your energy, mobility, and recovery are usually better now than later. And this has a direct spending implication. Your early retirement years are often your go-go years when travel, hobbies, and experiences are usually and should be at their highest level. Later, many people naturally slow down and spending often dips. If you ignore the pattern and use a flat spending mindset throughout all of your retirement, you can underfund the years when you're most active, then overallocate for years when you may spend less when you're physically not as active. Here's what to do about it. Build a two-phase spending plan, higher activity spending for go-go years, then a moderate step-down phase later. Make a to-do sooner list and 10 experiences you care most about, and circle the 3 that are most physically demanding and schedule them in the next 24 months. Add an annual activity budget line item now for travel experiences and memory making. Put health maintenance on your calendar like an appointment, strength training, cardio, sleep, and preventative care so you can enjoy those go-go years longer and keep that old man or woman at bay. If something is physically demanding or deeply meaningful, please, please, please don't auto-delay it to someday. Lesson 3, there are 2 sequence risks. Yes, in my videos, I've talked in length about sequence of returns risk and how it matters. Bad markets early can hurt withdrawals, but there's also sequence of lifestyle risk. What you normalize in years 1 through 5 compounds. So what we want to do is create a normal that helps us thrive during these formative years. Focus on building the routines, relationships, and purpose early so you create a thriving retirement that will compound in a positive way in the years to come. Here's what to do about it. Build a weekly template with repeatable anchors. By repeatable anchors, I mean recurring blocks that are pre-scheduled and protected, not one-offs. Plan exercise, move your body in some way most days, and focus on activities that you enjoy and will stick to. If you don't enjoy running, don't run. If you enjoy riding a bike, do that. Have one social block each week and one purpose block each week. A purpose block is dedicated time for something meaningful. For example, mentoring someone, volunteering, building a small project, learning a skill you care about, or creating content that helps others like me. These anchors create rhythm and prevent your week from feeling aimless. Use 3 non-negotiables each week that are health, relationship, and purpose focused. Make these a must-do during the week, with the health activities being often enough to meet or maintain your health goals, and plan everything else around these non-negotiables. Do a quick Sunday reset so the next week starts on purpose, not by accident. Review how the previous week went, confirm your 3 non-negotiables, and say no to anything that impedes these 3 non-negotiables. Lesson number 4, money is freedom, not a scoreboard. The happiest retirees don't obsess over winning a net worth contest, and they don't treat retirement like a new version of keeping up with the Joneses. Comparison is expensive, both financially and emotionally. Trying to match what other retirees are doing can push you into spending that doesn't actually fit your values. That's how people end up feeling pressure instead of freedom. The happiest retirees use money to buy back time, meaning they spend in ways that reduce obligations, give them more control over their day, reduce stress, and increase choice. Before major spending, ask, is this aligned with the retirement I actually want, or am I trying to keep pace with someone else? Ask, does this purchase buy me freedom, or does it buy obligation? A smaller house can buy freedom. Fewer ongoing commitments can buy freedom. Owning your time is often the best return. Your retirement is yours. You get to define what a great retirement looks like and use your money to build that version, not someone else's. Here's what to do about it. Use a freedom filter for big decisions: time cost, stress cost, flexibility cost. Put spending into 3 buckets: essentials, joy, and optional upgrades. If a purchase requires fixed monthly obligations, require a 72-hour pause before committing. Lesson 5, your identity will change. Believe me, it will. Plan for that, please. You won't be the exact same person in retirement that you were at work. For years, maybe you were the doctor, or maybe you were an IT analyst and consultant like I was. Then retirement happens and that title disappears overnight. That identity shift can be a real shock, and a lot of people underestimate how big that impact can be. Priorities shift, interest shifts, energy shifts. If your plan is too rigid, you'll feel trapped by your own assumptions. Build flexibility into both your budget and your weekly rhythm. Here's what to do about it. Start building your next identity before you retire, not after. Develop hobbies, relationships, and roles outside your work identity now so your life already has meaning beyond your work identity. Volunteer, join groups, and learn new skills so when work ends, you're not lost and you don't lose your sense of help. Write a simple who am I now statement for retirement. For example, mentor, creator, volunteer, active spouse, parent, or friend, and choose one weekly action that proves that identity is real. Lesson 6, purpose beats permanent vacation. Before retirement, most people picture retirement as one big permanent vacation where every day feels like a weekend. And honestly, that does feel great at first. But for many people, it eventually turns into boredom, loss of momentum, and retirement regret. The happiest retirees don't stay in permanent vacation mode. They build purpose into their weeks. Purpose can look like creating, mentoring, learning, volunteering, building, or contributing. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be meaningful to you. Here's what to do about it. Ask yourself, what excites me? Ask yourself, what do I genuinely enjoy? Ask yourself, what have I always wanted to do but never could when I was working? Write down your answers and choose one purpose project for the next 6 months. Build your retirement around those answers and really work on making them happen. And define its success in simple terms. For example, people helped, output created, and the joy and excitement you're experiencing. Lesson 7, relationships need active investment. Retirement changes relationship dynamics fast. If your spouse retires at the same time, now you're with each other 24/7 instead of the time you had away when you were both working. That can be great, but it can also create friction if expectations aren't clear. Friendships change too. A lot of people realize many of their friendships were tied to work, and once work ends, those connections can fade if you don't actively replace them. Connection in retirement is not automatic. You have to be intentional about it. Here's what to do about it. Talk with your spouse or partner about retirement expectations, how you'll spend your time, how much together time versus independence you each need, and what your individual and shared goals are. Have a monthly retirement alignment conversation with your spouse or partner to check what's working and what needs to change. Plan social touch points proactively, one call, one meetup, one group activity every so often to stay connected. Attend groups to meet new friends, for example, a neighborhood group of other retirees. Look for local Facebook groups or community groups that meet regularly. You might be surprised how many are out there. Lesson 8, test major decisions before you lock them in. In the first year, many retirees try to do everything at once. Move, downsize, buy a property, help family in a big way. Some of those are great moves, but stacking permanent decisions too early creates unnecessary stress. Don't make major decisions all at once. And before you make a major decision, pilot it first, rent it first, test it first, then commit if it still makes sense. For example, instead of moving somewhere else, trial it out first. Perhaps rent there for one full season to see how you like it before you make a permanent move and buy a property. That one move can save you from a very expensive mistake. Here's what to do about it. Use a test before commit rule for any decision with high fixed costs. Add a decision checklist, financial impact, lifestyle impact, reversal cost. Space major decisions at least 1 quarter apart whenever possible. Lesson 9, long-term regrets are usually regrets of inaction. People rarely regret action as much as they regret inaction. When retirees look back, they regret what they didn't do. Relationships they didn't invest in, trips they never took, and dreams they never acted on. Don't waffle back and forth on an experience that will be meaningful to you. Just do it. Life is too short. You'll usually be happier you did it than stuck regretting that you didn't. Here's what to do about it. Create a do within 12 months list with 3 meaningful actions. Include 1 relationship action, 1 experience/trip action, and 1 personal dream or project action. Attach each action to a date, a budget, and a first step. Use a simple rule. If it matters and any potential risk is manageable, move it forward. Now, as promised, here are the 3 biggest first 5-year mistakes. Mistake number 1, no integrated income plan. If withdrawals, tax strategy, and healthcare cost planning are disconnected, you lose control fast. What this looks like in real life, you solve this month's cash need, but create next quarter's tax or later on in the year tax and premium problem. Then you need even more withdrawals to cover higher costs, and that can all snowball. Here's what to do about it. Build one annual income map that combines spending needs, tax bracket, and healthcare thresholds. Set a do not cross modified adjusted gross income or MAGI guardrail for the year to keep your subsidies intact when you're on ACA health insurance. Before any large extra withdrawal, run a quick what if to see tax and subsidy impact first. Mistake number 2, no spending guardrails. Some people underspend from fear, but others overspend from the excitement of their newfound freedom. Both lead to stress. Underspending can create unnecessary scarcity and regret in your healthiest years. Overspending can create anxiety and force painful cutbacks later. Here's what to do about it. Set 3 spending bands: core needs, lifestyle baseline, and flex spending. Put clear limits on flex spending by month or quarter. And if you go over flex spending in one category, rebalance from another category instead of increasing total spend. Mistake number 3 is no review system. Without a review system, drift takes over, and drift is expensive financially and emotionally. You don't need complicated spreadsheets. You need a repeatable rhythm. Here's what to do about it. Run a quarterly review. Review 5 things: spending versus plan, withdrawal mix, tax trajectory, health costs, and life satisfaction. Pick one change to make next quarter better, then put it on the calendar to take care of as soon as possible. Quick note, if you want help actually doing this quarterly review, I built a simple tool for this episode, my quarterly review retirement dashboard. It walks you through those things: spending versus plan, withdrawal mix, tax trajectory, everything I'm talking about here. And then it prompts you to pick that one change to make next quarter better. It's available on my Patreon. Check it out. There's a link in the description. There are 3 tiers you can choose from, so you can choose whichever tier fits you best. From only access to my growing tools library that this tool is in, my entire podcast library that you can listen to ad-free, plus the tools I create, all the way up to the Q&A tier where you can ask me anything about early retirement, as well as access to all of my podcasts ad-free and to the tools I create as well. All right, so here are the most important points I want to leave you with. If you want your first 5 years to work, do this. Integrate withdrawals, taxes, and healthcare planning. Plan spending in phases. Higher activity go-go years first, then adjust down later as activity naturally declines. Prioritize Healthspan experiences early while your energy and mobility are strongest. Build weekly structure around purpose, relationships, and health, and make those your non-negotiables. Test major decisions before making them permanent, and run a quarterly review and make one improvement each quarter. Do that consistently, and you dramatically increase your odds of retirement that feels as good as it looks on paper. If this resonated, let me know what struck you the most. And if you're watching this and retired, share what lessons you've learned so far in retirement. I love these types of comments, as I think it's so helpful to learn from each other. I'd also love to give a shout out to David. David is a fellow creator that I have gotten to know and is an early retiree like myself. His channel is David in Progress. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. He has a lot of great content about early retirement, and I think you'll find his videos very motivating and inspiring. Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, this is Mike Upland, early retiree at age 55 in 2024. Take care and make the most of today.